Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you were there? You're standing in the kitchen, the living room, or somewhere else, and your mind just goes blank. It's frustrating, disorientating, and makes you feel like you're getting old. And it's so common that psychologists have given it an official name: the doorway effect. But what if I told you that this annoying psychological glitch is actually a doorway into lucid dreaming? The science of the doorway effect. Okay, so let's first understand what's happening here. In 2011, Gabriel Radvansky studied the doorway effect at the University of Notre Dame. Radvansky discovered something really interesting. Our brains naturally segment memories into distinct episodes or scenes. Think of it like chapters in a book. Each room or environment becomes its own distinct chapter. So when you physically pass through a door, your brain interprets this as changing from one chapter to the next. And this signals a cognitive reset, essentially prompting your brain to update working memory for the new environment and leaving the previous chapter behind. This reset is why you often forget what you intended to do when you enter a new room. Your mind literally sets aside your previous intentions to make space for the new environment, for fresh experiences. Here's what's really fascinating. Dreams operate under similar rules. Have you ever noticed how dreams jump unpredictably from one scene to the next? Scene to scene, place to place, without any obvious transitions. Each scene change within the dream acts exactly like passing through a doorway. It's another cognitive reset point. So imagine if you could take this ordinary psychological quirk, this glitch of memory, and instead of losing awareness, gain awareness and use it as a tool to induce lucid dreams, working with your brain. So there's a strange mindset that a lot of people hold when it comes to lucid dreaming. The idea is that you need to hack your brain or force your brain to do something. But many of the best lucid dreaming techniques don't work against your brain, but work with natural psychology. And surprisingly enough, those that work with your psychology tend to be the most effective. The most famous example of this is the mild technique, the mnemonic induction of lucid dreams by Dr. Stephen LaBerge. LaBerge noticed that prospective memory, the ability to remember to do something in the future, was a potent tool in human psychology, so he reworked that for lucid dreaming. Reality checks are another prime example. They're a cornerstone of lucid dream training. What are they? Well, they're leveraging cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is where the brain notices a mismatch between reality and expectations, and with reality checks, that induces lucid dreams. What's common amongst these historical techniques is they align with natural psychological processes, rather than fighting against them. Event boundaries. So the doorway effect isn't just about physical doors, there's something deeper going on. Cognitive scientists call these event boundaries. So an event boundary is a mental checkpoint. It's when your brain realizes on a subconscious or unconscious level that one situation's ended and another has begun. So event boundaries occur anytime there's a significant change in your environment, what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. For example, when you started this video, that was an event boundary. You changed from one state to another. You can also consider them gear shifts. And it could be even more simple than that. It could be changing the app on your phone, opening a new browser tab on your computer, or it could be starting a phone call, ending a phone call, changing your music playlist. The list goes on and on. All of these simple actions trigger your brain to reset and reorganize your memory. Each event boundary is like hitting the reset button and creating a new chapter. And here's why this massively matters when it comes to lucid dreaming. Dreams are packed with event boundaries. Every strange jump in a dream, from talking with your friend one moment to running from zombies the next to visiting your childhood home, These are all event boundaries. Your dreaming brain constantly shifts gears, changing from one scenario to the next, whether emotionally, intellectually, or environmentally. And what this means is that your dreaming brain is already perfectly primed with hundreds of lucid dream triggers, hundreds of opportunities to realize that you're dreaming every single night. But the reason we don't naturally become lucid in our dreams is because we haven't trained ourselves to notice these event boundaries, these gear shifts. So to make the most of this psychological process, we're going to instigate a new behavior in your lifestyle. Something that's going to make these event boundaries really obvious to your brain. And when we do this, every time your dream scene shifts, your brain is going to have a chance to notice and realize that you're dreaming. The dream gate technique. Okay, so now that you understand the history and psychology behind the dream gate technique, let's jump in to the method itself. It's easy. It's only 3 simple steps that you can easily integrate into your daily life. Step 1, notice doorways. So from here on, whenever you pass through a doorway, whether it's at home, at work, at school, or anywhere else, stop and pause and ask yourself this: have I just entered a dream? Don't rush this. Really take the time to think. Treat it like a new ritual. Look around the new room or environment and observe. Look out for anything that could be a sign that you're dreaming right now. And yes, if you want to, you can perform a reality check, but the most important thing here is to notice the change in scene and to remember to be observant and ready to realize that you're dreaming. The idea here is to reinforce the idea that every doorway, every portal could be a doorway into a dream. Step 2, notice event boundaries. So we're going much deeper than simply noticing when you're walking through doors. We want you to notice changes in your psychology, gear shifts, in your moods, any of the event boundaries we discussed earlier. So that could be finishing a phone call, finishing this video, starting something new, making a cup of tea. Just notice when these things change. And you're going to miss most of these. It's quite hard to stay this mentally alert all the time, but the fact of trying is important. You're engaging metacognition and observation. And when you do notice an event boundary, treat it the same way as moving through a doorway. Stop, pause, and ask yourself, could I be dreaming right now? Could this change in event mean that this is now a dream? And again, if you want to, you can perform a reality check, but you want to do that based on observation, not just habit. And the key here is consistency. Set this intention at the start of the day and try to do it throughout your day. Step 3, the final doorway. So when you get into bed at night, when your head hits the pillow, your bed is the final doorway, the portal into dream world, the final event boundary. As you pass into that new boundary, I want you to stop and rehearse your day. So this doesn't need to last more than a couple of minutes, but just rehearse your day, go back through the day, remembering all of the boundaries that you caught, all of the doorways that you remembered. And once you've done that, there's one more thing you need to do. Set an intention as you drift into sleep. Tell yourself, I will notice the next event boundary, or I will notice the next doorway. Then simply let yourself fall into sleep with that memory being the last thing on your mind. And by consistently doing this practice, when you wake up throughout the day and when you go to bed, you are reinforcing the concept of boundaries as a potential trigger for lucidity. The reason this technique is so effective is because we're working with our minds. We're simply changing our behaviors when we reach an event boundary, when that reset happens. We're starting to look at the world in a slightly different way, rather than simply blindly moving from one event to the other, one emotion to the other, one thought to the next. Every time we start something new, our first behavior is to consider, could this be a dream right now? We are instigating a new behavioral model. So here's a bonus tip for those of you who have watched this far, a way to make this technique even more effective. Adding a physical reminder to this process really amplifies things and makes it much easier to remember. So you might notice that I wear a ring on this hand, but you might also notice that the finger it's on sometimes changes. The reason for that is when I notice an event boundary, when I move from one state to another, I change which finger the ring is on. This little physical ritual grounds me to the practice. It reminds me to continue the practice. But also, physical behaviors are very prone to transferring into dream space. So in a moment, you're going to have an event boundary change. The video is going to finish. But if you want to learn more about lucid dreaming, you can watch one of the videos on the screen right now, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you there.